in the truth zone, mic hitting raw. Spotlight shining, she exposing the flaw. Debunking the myth, breaking their facade. This is Glass City, respect the squad. On these NYC blocks where the skyline flex big. Roberta Glass slicing lies with a truth rig. Innocence frosters, your stories unravel. She's a map through the madness of gritty gravel. Glass don't bend and facts don't break. She's a storm that's called, you feel the quake. Exposing tales stitched with crooked seams. Justice in the lens, shattered fake dreams. Dreams about killers, painted heroes in disguise. She burning propaganda with fire in her eyes. No glamour for the guilty, she call it straight. She backs victims, the voice stay awake. Stats and receipts, no spin, no clutter. Cold cases whisper, she cuts through the mutter. Truth's her tempo, don't confuse the beat. She's standing for the real while you taking a seat. True crime's a block, facts the artillery. Spinning those lies, yo, she checks that misery. Tabloid tales get smashed, no time to play. She's glass hard, break the false and save the day. True crime's a block, facts the artillery. Spinning those lies, yo, she checks that misery. Tabloid tales get smashed, no time to...
Okay, here we go. Apparently, StreamYard's having trouble streaming to Twitter. So we're not on Twitter. Tell your friends. I guess, what did people do before Twitter? Shout out the window? Call up your friends? Tell them that Roberta's reviewing a really interesting day in the Kouri Richins trial. I think one that we're going to be talking about for some time. I think there's so much to talk about today that I'm really just going to concentrate on one bit of the testimony. We can talk about the return of Carmen Lauber, the middle woman, as far as the drug purchases. She returned to the stand and was just as terrible a witness as she was the first time. Not the best state witness. So what's to do? What do you do with a witness like that who says she doesn't remember anything, who's lying to protect herself and her own reputation? I think we saw similarly with the drug dealer in this case, who Carmen Lauber purchased these fentanyl pills. So when we talk about Eric Richins, fentanyl poisoning, so if you've been living under a rock, this is a very notorious case in the true crime genre, at least in America. I think it's pretty much worldwide. But Kouri Richins, a Utah mother of three, married mother of three, she was married to Eric Richins, who owned a masonry company. Both raised Mormon. Eric Richins was the much more devoted Mormon of the two, although some would say some witnesses we've seen have been more devoted Mormons than Eric Richins. He certainly ignored the Mormon doctrine when it came to alcohol, caffeine, and the use of cannabis gummies to sleep. But Kouri Richins is on trial for poisoning her husband with fentanyl pills and murdering him using these fake oxycodone 30 pills that were really just had no oxycodone and were all fentanyl, that she purchased through her housekeeper, Carmen Lauber, who struggled with substances, the same kind of substances herself. We saw her return to the stand, Carmen Lauber, but more than that, we saw more of Kouri Richins' own writing. And we saw some writing that was found in a notebook when they searched her home, the home that she was keeping after Eric Richins' March 4th, 2022 death date. And she details the last hours of his life. And then she details the life-saving efforts that she went through, or that EMT went through, because she never did any kind of life-saving efforts. No CPR on Eric Richins. But she's detailing how she dropped to the floor in shock and horror when she was told he was gone, and in devastation. Kouri Richins is always the heroine of her own life story. So let's just catch the end also of Carmen Lauber's interrogation and go into, this is Detective Jeff O'Driscoll on the stand, and we'll go into the notebook, Jeff Driscoll describing the notebook. So here's one of the, better things for the defense is that Carmen Lauber isn't the most trustworthy source of information. Her truth seems to come and go with the wind and who she's trying to impress.
And they can't come back on me, right?
No, they're not charging.
With nothing.
The problem with where the defense is going with that, trying to prove that Carmen Lauber said all this just to please detectives to avoid being charged herself, is that there's so much communication between Kouri Richins and Carmen Lauber. I think this is on Facebook Messenger, is my understanding. I mean, she's not a criminal mastermind, Kouri Richins, that it doesn't matter so much that she's not the most trustworthy source, that her memory is not good, that she's not, I don't find her particularly all that likable. I don't find her unlikable. She's just one of those witnesses that's, if she said something and stated as fact, you'd want to go check and make sure you could back that up a bunch of different ways. She does not come across as an honest witness. Maybe that's the best thing that Kouri Richins' defense has done. Do I believe that she bought pills for Kouri Richins? Yes. Yes. But if this were just on her word alone, we'd have a problem, I think, in this case. It may be a big enough problem for some of the juries. We may see an acquittal. I don't think so. I mean, I'd be shocked and surprised, but I've been shocked and surprised before. To me, it seems fairly obvious that they could have charged her. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Did that kill your eardrums? They could have charged her with half the evidence they have in this case. So here they're going to talk about a notebook. There will be a lot of sidebars. I'll try to move through them quickly. Here's Detective Jeff O'Driscoll on the stand, looking sharp in a red tie and black and white striped dress shirt, beard trimmed. Let's get into it.
Detective, did you arrest Kouri Richins on May the 8th, 2023, pursuant to an arrest warrant?
Yes, I did.
That same day, did detectives execute a search warrant on the Willow Court home?
Yes, the Richins home.
Were Kouri Richins and her sons living at the home at that time?
They were living there, but we planned the execution of our search warrant intentionally to avoid the boys being home, so we waited till after they went to school.
When detectives executed that warrant, did they recover an orange notebook from a nightstand in the master bedroom on Kouri Richins' side of the bed?
Yes.
Scott Exhibit 2-66, please. you just scroll through that real quick?
So this is a notebook found by the side of her bed. Wait till you hear her description of the events preceding that came before her husband's untimely death.
Connor, can I speak to Mr. Bloodworth for a moment?
Mhm.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Detective, is this an accurate depiction of a portion of that orange notebook?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, the state moved to admit and publish 2-66R.
We renew all our previous objections that have been rolled on by the court already, Your Honor.
Understood. 2-66R is admitted and published.
Okay, so very telling. If anybody's studied statement analysis or just been read fairy tales, you know that if something starts out like it was a day, it was just another ordinary day, you know you're about to hear something that's not ordinary, right? It all started out just like a day, just like any other. And you can try it with children, they'll come closer, right? When you say it was just an ordinary, you start the story, it was just an ordinary, typical day, just like any other day. Well, that's how Kouri Richins, strangely, the woman who had a children's book written and published in her name, written for her and published in her name, ghost written for her, is writing her own children's story here. The day started out as a typical day. Ashton had a dentist appointment that morning to get a filling put in for his cavity. So a little extra detail. Wouldn't you say that you would know if he said he had to go to the dentist for a filling, you would know that that was a cavity? I mean, we're not thinking that her child's getting an implant or something for, once you say filling, I think it's pretty much well described. She's not the greatest writer in the world. After the dentist, we headed back home so Ashton could stay home with Weston, a Bailey, while I went to do my weekly volunteering at the school. That evening, I made dinner. We all ate as usual and ended the night like any other evening. I mean, she's telling you with her insistence that everything was normal, that it wasn't normal, that she was doing things that weren't like any other evening. Otherwise, there would be no need to say that at least twice. Around 8:30, because she's telling someone who doesn't know what any other evening is like. So around 8:30, I read the kids' books, and about 9:00, very unspecific about these kids' books. Wouldn't you remember exactly what the book was called? I know when I babysit for my friends' kids, you really remember those books that you read because, I mean, they're just it's such a performance sometimes. Sometimes the kid wants you to read the same book every time you're there or again after you just read it. So you would think that it would have stuck in her head what she read that night. It would be a traumatic memory. Around 8:30, I read the kids' books, and about 9, I put them to bed. Okay, they all climbed into bed. Thank you, Court TV, for removing that. Eric had been on his phone most of the evening in a texting war with a hunting guide from Mexico and a few other people, trying to get his horns back to the U.S. So we know he was an exotic hunter. That was his. And I think Kouri Richins knows that there's a good part of America that really does not like exotic hunting and considers it an elitist, callous kind of sport. Okay, let's see if we can move forward. Okay. Around 9 o'clock to 9:15, he was screaming mad at these guys and threw his phone. Was he screaming mad at her? Or was he screaming mad at the hunting guide from Mexico and a few other people? At that point, he said, "Let's go have a celebration drink." The following day, I was closing on a huge investment home in Midway. I mean, knowing the way Kouri Richins deals with money and knowing that she was taking out payday loans and just juggling money, getting herself more and more in debt just to stay afloat. Do you think Eric Richins, who had made a trust to protect his children from going to the poorhouse from Kouri Richins' compulsive gambling like spending habits? I mean, I think the best way to put Kouri Richins' relationship with her career, quote unquote, of flipping houses is that she was a compulsive gambler, and instead of roulette, she gambled with flipping houses and lost most of the time. The following day, I was closing on a huge investment home in Midway. I had been working on this deal for 4 months, and closing day was finally here, and Eric and I were going to toast for the closing. I mean, you really toast to the closing, but okay. We went into the kitchen and both started grabbing ingredients for a Moscow Mule and lemon drop shot. He was going on. All right, let's see if they can move this up. He was going on and on about these guys in Mexico and was so mad about the entire situation. Anytime you say someone was going on and on, that indicates a little bit of annoyance with them. You don't ever say to your friend, "Well, my mother was telling me about her vacation, and she was going on and on about the vacation to Paris she just went to, on and on about it." Once you say on and on, the other person that you're speaking to knows that you're annoyed. You were annoyed. It went on too long. It bored you. It annoyed you. It was indulgent. I mean, going on and on suggests that there's a kind of self-indulgence in this on and on. And they're not concerned with how you're feeling about their being so verbose about their issues. They're just they just are unloading. These guys, and he was going on and on about these guys in Mexico and was so mad about the entire situation. We finished talking and made our way back to our see if we can go forward. Room and brushed our teeth. I mean, she missed out like almost all these details about the morning, the afternoon, but we have now 2 mentions of teeth. Her son's dentist appointment, and now her husband brushing his teeth and her brushing her teeth. And is she talking about brushing the teeth of her children too? As we both, I don't think so. There's nowhere is she putting her kids to bed besides reading them stories. But she doesn't talk about brushing their teeth or getting them ready for bed. As we both climbed in bed, we could hear Ashton moaning and tossing and turning. He was having nightmares again. I wonder if she was hearing Eric moaning and tossing and turning. I told Eric I would go to sleep with him and try to calm him down. We kissed, said I love you and good night. And anytime you put I love you in there, crowbar it in, it generally indicates a poor relationship between the writer and the subject of the writing. And good night. And I went to Ashton's room and laid with him. So that generally indicates also that good night. Like that's probably when she found him dead. Like that's when he probably died. So right then, the EMT said that he'd been dead, and they came around 3:30 in the morning. In that area, 3:15, 3:30 in the morning on March 4th. This is the night of March 3rd, 2022 we're talking about. They said that Eric Richins had been dead quite a while. And Kouri Richins even talks about him being heavy and cold. His body, Eric Richins' body being heavy and cold. And I went to Ashton's room and laid with him. 30 minutes later, I could hear Eric snoring, and I finally fell asleep. What do you guys think of that? When we get back, got to take a break. Pay the piper. When we get back, just a quick word, and we'll get back with the Kouri Richins describes the paramedics arriving at 3:20 a.m. March 4th, 2022. Don't go anywhere.
And now a word from today's sponsor. Shelley Levisay never imagined she'd become a statistic. As a prosecutor, she fought for domestic violence victims. As a Christian and a professional, she believed in second chances and the power of love. But when she met Matthew, a veteran with PTSD and a violent past, her compassion became her weakness. He manipulated her, abused her, and nearly destroyed everything she'd worked for. Love Isn't Always the Answer is more than a memoir. It's a wake-up call. Shelley's story reveals the insidious nature of narcissistic abuse and the courage it takes to reclaim your life. If you've ever felt trapped in a relationship, or if you know someone who has, this book is for you. Start reading today and discover a story of survival, redemption, and hope. The link is in this episode's description. Read Love Isn't Always the Answer, a memoir written by defense attorney Shelley Levisay. Available in Kindle, audiobook, or paperback.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. He was a statement analyst. Are you talking about what's his name? Yeah. Abused women, too, will mention bathroom and brushing their teeth because it's one of the few times they have any space with a closed door and feel safe. I want to thank Charlene F. Tammy, you're such a good supporter of this channel. Thank you. ND25 Nancy, Tammy again, Lucy, someone, Susan Buckland, thank you for buying me a coffee. Venmo, very generous Venmo donation today from Rachel Harper. Thank you, Rachel. You made my day with that. Peter Hyatt, yeah, used to talk about it. Sadly, he passed. As a writer's daughter, I'm fascinated. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Venmo people. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, everyone who keeps this channel afloat. I appreciate it. Channel members, Patreon members. But I do want to call out the people who make donations via Venmo. Buy me a coffee. Link is always in the description of each and every episode. Okay. As we both climbed into bed, we could hear Ashton moaning and tossing. Don't you think that's got to be Eric? And Ashton's a stand-in? Okay, I woke up from sleeping with Ashton. So the most important thing wouldn't be, I went into my husband's room at blah, blah, blah. It's not, she wants to make an alibi from herself right away where she was. Wouldn't you start with, I came in at 3 a.m. to check on my husband. I moved back into my husband's bed at 3:20 in the morning, and I found his body was cold. He wasn't breathing. Wouldn't that be? Instead of, I woke up from sleeping with Ashton and went to crawl back in my bed, not the bed I share with my husband. It was dark and awkwardly quiet. Eric snores more times than not, so I thought it was weird I didn't hear anything. So already she's disparaging Eric and saying he's a real pain because his snoring he snores all the time. I mean, usually people become more angelic and wonderful and almost perfect after they die, especially die so young. But now she's already feels a need to disparage him. Big red flag. I crawled into bed and went on Eric's side of the bed. She's a terrible writer, but this has nothing to, you can still understand what she's trying to communicate. It's just awkward to read. I crawled into bed and went on Eric's side of the bed. I think she means Eric's side of the bed, and put my arm over him. He was cold, very cold. So I pulled the blanket up on him, but his body just felt strange to me. It was heavy. This is something she talks about when the paramedics come. So we've seen the body cam of the paramedics. She's talking about to the paramedics and the police that Eric was cold and heavy at various different times, and covering her eyes with her hands. I mean, it looks like someone covering up the lack of tears with their hands over their eyes to kind of pantomime sadness without actually having the feelings. So I pulled the blanket up on him, but his body just felt so strange to me. It was really heavy. Well, maybe they'll move it down a little bit so I can read it a little bit better. Hold on. Here we go. Heavy is the only word I can think of to describe it. So I nudged him and said, Eric, nothing. I kept nudging him and just remembered the stiffness of his body. I jumped out of bed, ran and turned the lights on. It was pale yellow, mouth open. He was pale yellow, so pale/yellow, mouth open. An urge came over me that this was it. This was, looks like she's going to write it. Hold on. This was not good, I guess she wrote. I grabbed my phone and called 911. I ran up to Eric to see if he was breathing or had a pulse, but he didn't. So she's in bed or very close to the possible corpse of the husband. She took vows in front of God and everyone to love till death do her part, but she doesn't seem to have any fear that she's near this dead body. So I grabbed my phone and called 911. I ran up to Eric to see if he was breathing or had a pulse, but he didn't. Panic had sunk in as I was talking to dispatch. Right, because she had to do CPR and she didn't want to do CPR. That's probably where the panic set in, not over the fact that, I mean, she put all this into motion. If the prosecution's right about their theory that she murdered him, and I think they are, she put all this into motion. She could not have been shocked. She had me, but we often see murder suspects panic when after they call 911 because they have a script in their head and they're not ready to answer all these questions. Often we see them like we did in Michael Peterson's murder of his wife, Kathleen Peterson, which he eventually pled guilty to a lesser manslaughter charge, I believe, after his murder conviction got overturned ridiculously. He hangs up on 911. Often we see guilty people hang up on 911. They're not prepared to answer these questions. They're not prepared to do CPR. She had me pull Eric to the floor to do CPR. She never did CPR. As much as I didn't want him basically falling on the ground, I pulled them as hard as I could get him down and began CPR compressions. Again, those people are, even when we know that this is a lifeless body, it's still the body of the person that we loved, and we tend not to pull people as hard as they can onto the ground. Just out of fear, discomfort with a dead body, and began CPR until the EMT arrived. They immediately took over, getting out their defibrillator and started compressions. The worst part of all of it was when they were pumping his lungs and blood went everywhere. It's like a replay in my head. Really, the worst part isn't the shock at discovering your husband is not breathing. It's the blood. The worst part was when the blood might have damaged a home that I might think about flipping later. So psychopaths don't have the depth of emotion and the empathy that non-psychopaths have. So they try to mimic it. So she's trying to think that was the most horrific point. But really the scariest point would be when you find out that your husband's not breathing. But she asked the paramedics, what was under his nose? What was that? And they say, oh, that's blood. And they explained it to her. So now she's worked this story because I think she was trying to look for details about the state of her husband's body that she could tailor some kind of story to that pointed away from herself as the killer. And she was like, what was that under his nose? And they were saying, well, when you do chest compressions and the blood is stopped pumping, it pumps out of their nose. It's like on replay it's like on replay in my, I assume she says my mind. I think she's trying to say she has post-traumatic stress or something from it. It's like on replay in my head and it won't go away. So she's heard about post-traumatic stress disorder, maybe in researching her children's book. I don't know. I began screaming at the EMTs that they weren't doing it right. He shouldn't be bleeding. How would I really know what is right and what is wrong? I have no idea. I screamed, cried, and just sat in the corner of the room by my dresser, rocking back and forth, hoping and praying this was a dream, fading in and out of the moment, hoping to go back to the night. I mean, this is really, does this remind you anything of the body cam that we saw in this case? Not really, right? Let's see. Wow, they're really gonna see if I can. Fading in and out of the moment, hoping to go back to the night. See if we can. Okay, here we are. To the night before, where we were laughing, kissing, and saying goodnight. So she has a need to persuade that they love each other, that they're physical with each other, that this is a happy marriage. That's fading in and out of the moment, hoping to go back to the night before where we were laughing, kissing, and saying goodnight. The EMT finally asked me to leave the room. He could see I was visibly upset. I don't know about that. And couldn't function. He took me to the living room and had me sit down. I couldn't. I paced back and forth, and a really great, someone could make a really great video comparing the body cam footage to this diary or notebook that was found with Kouri describing what happened and what actually happened. He could see I was visibly upset and couldn't function. He took me to the living room and had me sit down. I mean, what you see on the body cam is that Kouri Richins is in control, that she's not shocked, that she's just trying to act her way out of it and act as upset. And if she puts on the high-pitched, whiny voice, maybe it will make everyone stop asking the tough questions and look away from her. I couldn't. I paced back and forth until an officer came out and asked, hold on one second, if there was someone I would like to call. I called my mom back to back until she finally picked up. I told her to come quick. The ambulance was here. Something is wrong. Now she's going from past tense to present tense. Something is wrong with Eric. I was upset and crying still. I hung up and still paced back and forth until I finally just dropped to my knees, praying this wasn't happening. At that point, the head EMT walked in to tell me he didn't make it. The head EMT walked in to tell me he didn't make it. We did all we could do. I lost it. I immediately ran to the bathroom and began throwing up. During all of this, my kids had woken up, and I had quickly yelled for them to stay in their room. They knew something was up, as opposed to Eric Richins' sisters, who was like, where are the kids? I got to get them out of here. It's so interesting that the children's aunt had the impulse, which is the real motherly impulse, to save their kids, from this suffering and death, and try to communicate what happened in the gentlest way, not the most traumatic way. But not Kouri Richins. She's like, your father's dead. Don't come out. Oh, during all of this, my kids had woken up, and I had quickly yelled for them to stay in their room. What a monster. They knew something was up. They saw the ambulances and cop cars for what had seemed hours at this point. I could feel their fear through the walls. How so, Kouri? How do you feel children's fear through the walls, but didn't have the courage to dare see them or talk to them at this point? So this is something you see on the body cam footage with Kouri Richins begging Katie Richins, Eric's sister, to tell Jean Richins, Eric's dad, the news, because she can't face it, and she can't face telling her kids, and she can't face this, and she can't face anything. What a perfect way to avoid having to answer any uncomfortable questions about your husband's murder, no? Okay, I was curled up around the toilet when my mom walked in with the EMT lady. I could tell she had no words and just rubbed my back. She already knew he was gone. The EMT told her I was distraught. So was she, meaning, oh, my mother was distraught. Her mother does not, Lisa Darden, her mother does not look distraught. Oh, I have some interesting news on Kouri Richins. On Kouri Richins' mother's lesbian lover. Hold on one second. And I will pull it up. Thank you, Maestro. 412. Let me see. Hold on one second. Yeah, I'll have to pull it up. I don't know how I lost it, but I did in the 2 seconds. But it has, oh, here it is. Okay, here we go. This has to be Gertrude Lee Moore, has to be Trudy Moore, passed away at 49 in 2006, was Lisa Darden, Kouri Richins' mom's lesbian lover. And Kouri Richins' mom, Lisa Darden, was profited financially, at least that's how it was reported, from this death, this overdose death of her lover. She's described in this as suddenly passing away on April 30th, 2006, a resident of DeLand and attended DeLand High School. She worked for the FDOT before relocating to Herbert City, Utah. She was preceded in death by her mom, Sandra Slanker, and her dad, Noli Moore, from Dayton, Ohio. Other survivors include her other father, Richard Slanker, two sisters, Ricky Mitchell and Tina Pollard, and her best friend, Lisa Darden. Okay. I was curled up around the toilet. Back to Kouri Richins' letter. I was curled up around the toilet when my mom walked in with the EMT lady. I could tell she had no words, just rubbed my back. She already knew he was gone. It's almost like you already knew he was gone, Kouri Richins. The EMT told her. I was distraught. So was she. We couldn't even speak. She just started to say what happened. I love you, good night, and I went to sleep with Ashton, and that was it. It just didn't make any sense. I told them, the EMTs, I needed to call my father-in-law. They found my phone for me, and I did. I just said something was wrong with Eric. He needed to come over quick. I told him the ambulance was here, but he wasn't breathing. The odd thing about when I had called Gene, that's Eric's father, is it was about 3:45, 4 a.m. by this time, and he had sounded so perky on the hello when he answered, almost like he was expecting my call. It was very strange. So she's trying to set up Eric's father as the killer. I mean, this woman is so dangerous. So Susan Hicks, thank you for finding all that information about Trudy Moore, Lisa Darden's lover, who OD'd, and who did, unlike Eric Richins, who did struggle with opiate misuse or addiction. The odd thing about when I had called Gene is it was about, okay, so very strange. So here are some more things from her diary. March 7th, pickup truck. March 12th, Cody called at, I can't even read that. March 14th, Cody took computers. Cleaned out garage or something, it looks like. Cleaned out something. March 4th, Eric passes away. March 5th, friends Bryce, Chelsea, Kay, Bree, Romy, Abe, slept over, had a few drinks, and reminisced. We laughed, we cried, we danced all night. Let's look at that. Hold on. Let me stop that and look at that footage before this goes on any longer. So there was footage shown in court. It's like a 40-second clip of that celebration of life that Kouri Richins had at her home the day after Eric Richins was found dead from a fentanyl overdose. And it's just bizarre. Let's take another quick look at it. Hold on. Well, 1 second.
Okay, ready? Okay, I'm getting all three.
Cheers, boys.
Yep, come back in the corner with us. There we go.
Richard.
Richard, yep.
So, I mean, so they're kind of shotgunning, for those listening on podcasts, they're shotgunning. I think that's what it's called when you put a hole in a beer can and drink it from the hole in the can and drink it down real quick, this alcohol. But the camera will turn to Kouri Richins, who's wedged herself in next to the refrigerator. And she has some of the strangest, oddest expressions. Certainly doesn't look like a widow in mourning.
Richard.
Look, Chachi said no.
What?
Oh. You were an Afghanistan warrior.
Yeah, let's go back. But there she is, just laughing. They laughed, they cried. We didn't see any of the crying footage. I mean, I guess the defense, but what is this expression she's making here? What is that? Doesn't she look like a demon?
Look, Chachi said no.
Oh. You were an Afghanistan warrior.
You are an Afghanistan warrior.
Okay. Odd, right? Did I just lose my place? Oh no, I might need to take a break. How did I do that? Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I think I did. Hold on 1 second. I'm so sorry, guys. Let me go back. Oh, here we are. Okay, I found my place. Never mind. I thought maybe I would have to take a break. I don't know what I hit. God bless America. Here we are. Back to Kouri Richins and her weird diary. March 11th, picked up truck. March 12th, Cody cleaned out garage. March 14th, Cody took computers. March 4th, Eric passes away. March 5th, friends Bryce, Chelsea, Allie, Kay, Bree, Ronnie, her brother, Amy, sleep over, have a few drinks, and reminisce. We laughed, we cried, we danced all night. Earlier in the afternoon, Katie mentioned a green folder and asked if I knew where it was. I mentioned I didn't know what she was talking about. She quickly changed the subject and said we would figure this out. March 6th, I called the locksmith to open the safe, and that's when she punched Amy Richins. She broke into Eric Richins' gun safe, of which he was said to have $145,000 in cash. And when Amy Richins, Eric Richins' sister, said, "Why don't you wait for my father? He'll give you the combination," Kouri Richins physically attacked Eric's sister, Amy. The jury will not hear about that incident. That happened March 6th, so 2 days after Eric Richins was found dead from a fentanyl overdose. But you can see that she's making notes when the Richins family drove by the house. She was, I don't know, she was trying to make some kind of case against the Richins as the real murderers. 11th was the funeral. March 22nd, Kouri starts counseling. March 26th, boys start counseling. Like, oh, what a good mother I am because I killed my children's father, but then I took them to counseling. April 11th, Detective Woody called and something about to talk on the 12th and made a date to talk on the 12th or the 13th. And she had hired a defense lawyer, I guess, Sky Lazaro. Sky told me to tell her the 14th. April 13th, search warrant on house. March 28th, filed first complaint against the trust for the house. May 3rd, filed for partial summary judgment on my husband's business, C&E. January 10th, Woody calls Chelsea in for an interview. January 12th, Chelsea goes in for an interview, is lied to that she was the last person I talked to that night. She's like, I may have killed my husband, but law enforcement lied to someone they were interviewing. Chelsea checks phone records. We never spoke that night. January 13th, Jim drives red truck for oil change. Cody finds out and goes to get it. July 17th, 2022, find out the private investigator. He was outside at my neighbor's while Carter's 10th birthday party was happening. That's her son. September 7th, Amy driving by the house. That's Eric's sister, Amy Richins, driving by the house, trying to take pictures. November 22nd, Katie files motion. That's Eric's other sister, files motion to bring boys in on case. November 30th, first court hearing. Katie and Amy would not turn on cameras.
Detective O'Driscoll detectives also execute a search warrant at Willow Court Home on November the 7th, 2024.
Yes.
Scott, Exhibit 2-65, please. Is this an accurate depiction of a document recovered from the kitchen cabinet of the home pursuant to that search warrant?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, the state moves to admit and publish 2-65.
No objection.
2-65 is admitted.
Hey, hold on one second. Let me just get to this. And so Eric home, 6:30, fighting with Mexican, drink in bed. He drank half, bruised his teeth. More of this teeth stuff. Brushed his teeth. Okay, brushed his teeth. Sorry, bruised his teeth. Brushed his teeth. I was in bed after I brushed mine. Boy, she's really getting into this teeth brushing stuff. Through the doorway. What is going on with all this teeth stuff? Because we know that Eric took his son to get allergy shots. I don't know if that was Ashton. I thought it was, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was a different son. Maybe it was Carter. Moscow mules, lemon water, vodka, rum. January through March 21st, gone. Funeral, didn't have my phone. Kids bed around 9, drink around 9 p.m. in bed around. I think we can say that she must have given him these drugs much earlier, I think. I think she's played with the time. And I don't think this Moscow Mule was the delivery system. Although, I mean, I would say that some of the more best things for the defense is that they didn't really investigate the scene very well. (9:30, 9:45). I laid down instant, heard Ashton, went in, came back at 3. Mom came. So it sounds like she's solidifying the story that is now in the public domain, and went in the public domain for years and years. That, I mean, the way that this was reported was that prosecutors alleged that she poisoned him via this Moscow Mule, which is not at all what the prosecution has argued, at least not in opening statements. She could have put it in his dinner. She could have put it in the gummies. She could, anything. Probably not the gummies, but anything.
Did Kouri and Eric Richins?
So now she's trying her satty face on in court, because I guess it's gotten back to her that she has gone through most of the trial looking like an unemotional statue.
Exchange text messages regarding the Midway Mansion.
Yes. I believe those were located on Eric's phone.
Scott, Exhibit 2-17D, please.
You guys just hear what I said? I hope so. Am I muted? Sorry. Yeah, I was just saying that I think the reason that I think he did I think he would have come out, this Detective O'Driscoll would have come up with a lot, would have made this a lot tighter case. I got it. Thank you. Thank you. Everyone's telling me I'm muted. I'm getting my phones going off like crazy. Sorry about that. He would have done a much better job. I like this detective a lot. I think he's really sharp. Just from reading his search warrant application for Kouri Richins' mother's property, thought it was really well written and I mean, just not well written in the writing, but just well covered. Everything was really well covered in that search warrant. Did he find enough evidence to charge Lisa Horton with some kind of accessory in this case? But no, I thought it was a good impulse to investigate her. I think the prosecution showed us the lead detective, the woman who started out as the lead detective on this case, so late into the case, so the jury could forgive the things that she missed, like the glasses, like securing the glasses that the Moscow Mule and this lemon drop were served in, or gathering the hydrocodone bottle that was prescribed to Eric Richins years ago that still had medication in it. I mean, for the defense, that seems to prove to them that Eric was an addict. But everybody who's familiar with addicts knows that an addict would have gone through all that medication. It doesn't hold on to it for years, and a hydrocodone bottle for years and years and years and years if they're physically dependent on something, right? It doesn't make any sense. So what Detective O'Driscoll is on the stand now pointed out about Lisa Darden's lesbian lover who overdosed, who did have an issue with an opiate addiction, is that it was so odd that she overdosed on oxycodone because she had a tolerance to it. It's a rare thing. Usually those kind of deaths, you see combinations of drugs like downer drugs or alcohol mixed in that make the opiate more deadly as far as slowing down the breathing. But yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen a lead detective introduced so late into a trial as this one was.
Is this an accurate depiction of a January 5th, 2022 text exchange between Kouri and Eric Richins?
Yes, and the green bubbles are Eric, and the blue bubbles are Miss Richins.
Anna, can we have just one moment, please?
The unpleasant defense team has more sidebars to go through. Let's see if we can catch up.
At this time.
State moves to admit and publish 2-17D.
2-17D is admitted.
So this is Eric Richins. There's a guy down here that's going to buy the sheep tag from Todd next week. This is from January 5th, 2022. It's about 2 months before his murder, approximately. There's a guy down here that's going to buy the sheep tag from Todd next year, and he tried to get the tag from me today and said I was crazy for not shooting this ram we saw. He wasn't even that big. And 1987, My Princess is gotta be. Oh, it's to Eric from It's got to be two, Kouri and yeah, I had trouble figuring out who was talking in these. How much money you got, bro? I'll sell it for 15K. Hey, while you're sitting there doing nothing, need your opinions. I know this may change with, I think this is from Kouri to Eric and someone else. I know this may change what Jeff said, but for now, I have to put it together an analysis for Matt, which is what I'm doing now because he has an investor that is thinking he will come in at the full 2.9. I need estimation costs on the following: exterior work, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, flooring, painting, sheetrock, pool, miscellaneous equipment, tile, cabinets, appliances, light fixtures, finish work, landscaping. He knows these are guesses, but wants a breakdown. So I think this, I have no idea. I would be just way off trying to guess. It's bedtime. Why are you still up? I need to have this done tonight. He has a meeting with him tomorrow. I think everything in blue is usually Kouri Richins. Well, I think it will come to about 6 million. Oh boy. Oh my God. Never mind. Never mind. To fix all that rotten plywood and everything else, $125,000 exterior work, $650K HVAC, $200K plumbing, $200K electrical, $200K flooring, $250K painting, $150K sheetrock, $150K pool, $300K miscellaneous climbing wall, basketball court, golf simulator. I mean, it just goes on. Thank you, kind sir. That's what I needed. So, I mean, I guess this is like more financial fraud, craziness. Correct me if I'm wrong. I wanted to show you. Well, I just wanted to show you quickly when it got to the walk the dog letter. I may have to take a break. I had it pulled up. Hold on one second. This is when Detective O'Driscoll shows, talks about Kouri Richins' book and how her appearance on Good Things Utah went down. This was a fun part of today. I mean, if a murder trial can be fun, it's just Kouri Richins is just such a bad criminal. It's kind of ridiculous. Let's take a look at this. Her book that she, I think, is purported to have written is the way they put it. Let's take a listen.
Are you familiar with a children's book entitled Are You With Me that Kouri Richins purportedly authored to help children deal with the loss of a parent?
Yes, I am.
How did you first come familiar with it?
Your Honor, we just want to renew our previous objections to this line of questioning.
Court stands on its prior ruling. Please.
Sir, how did you first become familiar with it?
Another one of the investigators from the sheriff's office shared a link with me to a story by Good Things Utah, a local news channel. And I viewed an interview there between Ms. Richins and reporters.
Scott, can I get 8-21 Sierra, please? Sir, do you recognize that as an authentic depiction of a screenshot from that interview?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state moves to admit and publish 8-21S.
Your Honor, we renew our 401 and 403 objections.
Overruled. 8-21, did I get the number right? 8-21S is admitted and published.
There's Kouri Richins on the local Utah news promoting her book.
Did detectives investigate how Kouri Richins came to appear on Good Things Utah?
Yes. A subpoena was sent to ABC Utah news station to get that information, and part of their production, they produced some emails between Ms. Richins and the production team. It appeared that they had some kind of standardized form that anyone could fill out to requesting to be on the show, and it looked like Ms. Richins had filled that out and they were communicating about the results.
Scott, can I?
So Kouri Richins suggested herself as a guest. And in this communication, she says she's expecting to sell 100,000 copies. She plans to be such a fantasist. I think that would put her on the New York Times bestseller list. You don't have to sell that many books to get on the New York Times bestseller list, as far as, proportions to how we think about how much, it's a how many people are really buying books, and children's books too. But she thought she was going to change things up so she could make $10 a book. And they tell her to get there at 9. They tell her to get there at 9:45 in the morning, and that she'll be on the air at 10. So come as you are, where you're not going into makeup. Don't expect to get powdered down. This is local TV. Come as you are, ready to be on TV at 9:45, and we'll put you on at 10, from in between 10 and 11.
15. Detective, is that an accurate depiction of the March 24th, 2023 email exchange between Kouri Richins and Good Things Utah?
Yeah, I believe it began on March 24th. There's various dates on when emails were sent back and forth, but yes.
Your Honor, the state moves to admit and publish 2-115.
Check the 401, 403, and hearsay, Your Honor.
401 and 403 overruled. With respect to hearsay, there are portions of this were authored by Kouri Richins, other portions authored by people other than Kouri Richins, correct?
That is correct. And the portions other than Kouri Richins are offered for their effect on Kouri Richins.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, to the extent that State's Exhibit 2-115 includes statements authored by Kouri Richins, you may consider those statements for the truth or for any purpose. To the extent they include statements written by someone other than Kouri Richins, you cannot consider those statements for the truth. Rather, you can consider them only for the effect they had upon Kouri Richins as the recipient of those statements. Published 2-115.
Yes, Your Honor, please.
Very good. 2-115 is admitted.
So, just very damning, just all the stuff about the monetary. She says, and here's our correspondence with Kouri. Name of person requesting guest appearance, Kouri Richins. To KTVX. Email krichinsrealty@gmail. Don't try to use that email now. She's in jail, and she may be going to prison unless she gets acquitted. Maybe she'll revive that email. I'd like to be a guest on Good Things Utah. Name of the organization you belong to. Self-author. Is your organization a nonprofit? No. Hell no. She should answer hell no. Do I ever do anything for free? No. Am I close to $7.5 million in debt? Yes. Preferred date range of your appearance. Anytime that works for you guys. Name of your event. Promoting a child's book. Wow, weird. We normally say a children's book or a book for children or kids book or book for kids about grief. First day of your event, March 31st, 2023. Time of your event, 8 a.m. I mean, child is stuff that when we say child, it usually has to do with child abuse, child this. Just a child's book. We don't say the child's book section. We say the children's book section. Odd, just odd. Her language is so odd and awkward. That's all I can say. And strange all through her writing. It's very difficult to read out loud. I'll tell you that much. Are you or anyone who will be appearing our programs? I think they mean, are you or anyone who will be appearing? I think they mean on our programs running for political office. No. Give us a short summary of your event, including ticket sales, age limitations, unusual details, etc. I have just written what appears to be the first children's book about losing a parent. I will guarantee you it's not the first, certainly not the first book about grief, because my parents in the late 70s, early 80s, as a child would read me this book called The Badger That Wouldn't Die, all about this badger that refused to die and outgrew its pond. It was traumatic. There's some things of which there still aren't support groups for, such as the children's book, The Badger That Wouldn't Die. My husband passed away last year, and we have 3 young boys. I wrote this book to help kids find comfort and peace. So she didn't write it. She had it written for her and published for her and illustrated for her. She went through a service that wrote it for her. I have just written what appears to be the first children's book about losing a parent. Shouldn't say I have appeared to have just written a book, but it's not that I wrote a book at all. My husband passed away last year, and we have 3 young boys. I wrote this book to help kids find comfort and peace when losing a parent or anyone close to them. I hope to promote it on your show to help parents comfort their children with such a tragic life event. Strangely, I didn't comfort my kids at all the night my husband passed, but now I'm an expert on comforting children, apparently. Let's see if we can speed past this. That's amazing news. So excited. So she gets on. Yes, this book is still available on Amazon. Here's the link. We also found out that Kouri Richins' mother, Lisa Darden, sent the lead detective on this case, a copy of Kouri Richins' book, as if he needed a copy, with a gift note from Amazon saying, "Here's the real Kouri Richins, a grieving mother." But she didn't sign it, so they had to subpoena Amazon to find out who sent this book advocating for Kouri Richins' innocence, and it was her mother, Lisa Darden. Wild. Wild, wild, wild. Let me know now if there's any. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much. Let's see if we can move through this. She was just told to show up. Keep the person's spirit alive who has passed. Talk to them about sharing memories. All this looks like AI stuff, right? Continue. Try and keep routines and schedules as normal as possible. Care. List props you'll be bringing so we can accommodate. Oh, no, this is the TV station telling her how to help grieving children. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Update on graphics. So all that work she worked out. Let's hear what Detective O'Driscoll has to say
Good
about it.
Things Utah. Are you familiar with Kouri Richins promoting the book on KPCW radio?
Yes, again, I was sent a link to their website. I viewed their webpage and saw an interview with Miss Richins and journalists and listened to an interview that she conducted with them on their website.
Scott, 8-37, please. Is this an accurate depiction of the website promoting the interview?
Yes, it is.
Is it dated April the 12th, 2023?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state moves to admit and publish 8-37.
Object 401, 403, and hearsay, Your Honor, and authenticity.
Are they trying to say, when they say inauthenticity, when the defense objects with that claim of inauthenticity, are they claiming that this is a fake copy of Kouri Richins on the radio promoting the book she had published about how to help grieving children? Is that what they're claiming, or does it mean something else in relation to Utah law?
Do you actually have an authenticity objection?
Yes.
Please approach.
Oh, so I guess the judge finds that unbelievable too. He's like, please, are you really objecting on grounds of authenticity? Why don't you come forward? Because are you really saying that this isn't your client on public radio?
Do redact all text below the photograph, please.
Oh, well, maybe they got someplace with that.
In the caption to the photograph, please.
Oh, so my guess would be that this isn't a good representation of Kouri Richins' appearance on public radio. How's everybody else doing? Is anyone bored? I don't know. I don't know how everybody's feeling. I just, like, my jaw drops at all of this. They're shameless. These killers have no shame, no guilt, no remorse.
No, I'm sorry, not the headline, the caption of the photograph.
Oh.
There we go. Okay. Remind me of the number, Mr. Flipper.
Your Honor, 8-37.
You want to put an R on it? Does it matter?
We should put an R on it
Okay.
now.
States 8-37R is admitted. Defendant's objections thereto are overruled. Ready to publish?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Towards the end of March 20.
Don't Google the Badger book. It's so, I'm telling you, it was so bad. My dad loved it. He'd be like, let's read Eloise. Let's read something else. I'd be like, no, we're going to read the Badger that wouldn't die. It was so awful. I believe it's out of print. I did investigate like maybe 15, 16 years ago. You might actually find I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Wonder if other people were totally traumatized by it too.
2023. Did the Summit County Sheriff's Office receive an anonymous Amazon delivery of the book?
Yes. Package showed up from Amazon with a copy of the book and also a little standard sticker that you can leave a personalized message on with a gift when you send something.
Scott, 8-20, please. Is this an accurate depiction of a scan of the cover of the book that the Summit County Sheriff's Office received along with the message that accompanied it?
Yes.
I mean, I feel like Lisa Darden, Kouri Richins' mom, needs another episode. I just have never had such a reaction to a mother and a mother of an accused murderer, where I felt that they were so dark and so evil. I mean, I dislike a lot of mothers of killers. I notice a lot of narcissism in mothers of killers. a lot of shame, so that they're so filled with shame about what their child has done, their adult child has done, that they'll go into full-fledged innocence, leading full-fledged innocence fraud campaigns. But with Kouri Richins, her mother just comes off, and her brother comes off. Her mother comes off as an accomplice, and her brother comes off as like a hostage to an accomplice. Does that make sense? Like he's being roped in if he wants to stay in good graces with his accused murderer sister and very dark mother, that he better play ball. And he's just in there just for survival, to say the right thing. You know, more like a hostage, but also an accomplice nonetheless.
So when we received this, evidence technician scanned the cover of the book and then the note that came with it as well, yes.
Your Honor, the state moves
So this was something we hadn't seen before at all, before trial.
to admit and publish 8-20.
Just 4-1 and 4-3, Your Honor.
Okay, overruled. State's Exhibit 8-20 is admitted.
There are two sides to every story. This is the true Kouri, a devoted wife, an adoring mother, very much like Kouri Richins when she talks about her heart. Her heart is shattered, her heart is broken. You know, over the top, sentimental language without any real feeling in it, used overly emotional language used to manipulate. Tons of red flags in this note. There are two sides to every story. This is the true Kouri, a devoted wife, an adoring mother. Thought you should know, from Anonymous. So sorry for the spoiler alert, but this is sent from Lisa Darden, Kouri Richins' mother, who also got investigated in this case. Her partner's murder or death from opiate overdose. Trudy Moore's overdose from opiates on April 30th, 2006, got investigated by O'Driscoll, but she was mainly being investigated for her part in Eric Richins' overdose of fentanyl, because Lisa Darden had a lot of animosity, anger towards Eric Richins and the Richins family. And I talked about this case on Court TV before the trial started. And I noticed that I wondered if it was someone close to Kouri Richins. There were multiple comments that were all advocating for Kouri Richins' innocence, while at the same time attacking Eric Richins and his family. It made me wonder if it was Lisa Darden who was leaving multiple comments, or someone else close to Kouri Richins who had such strong and personal feelings of anger towards Eric Richins' family and such strong feelings of advocacy for Kouri Richins' innocence. LOL.
Thank you. Did detectives investigate who anonymously sent the book?
Yes, subpoena was sent to Amazon to request the information on who the sender was, and it came back as Lisa Darden.
Scott, 8-34, please. Is this an accurate depiction of the order history provided by Amazon in response to the subpoena?
Yes, it is.
Dated March 21st, 2023.
Correct.
Your Honor, the state moves to admit and publish 8-34.
No objection.
8-34 is admitted and published.
Detective is Lisa Darden, Kouri Darden's mother.
Yes, she is.
So, yeah, that's what you need, like a legal subpoena to get that information. When you're sent gifts from Amazon, has anyone gotten those like weird gifts, like just things that you didn't ask for, that they're looking for reviews for things, so they send you like weird chargers for computers you don't own? That's what I got one time in the mail. And you're like, who sent this to me? You're trying to figure it out before it kind of came out that companies were doing this so that they could write their own positive reviews of these products. They were sending them out as gifts. Amazon won't give you that information. You really have to ask for a legal subpoena. Yeah. Not a criminal mastermind either. You would think she would use someone else's credit card or something else, right? I guess, what are they going to find her guilty? I mean, I guess she could be charged if there was the will to do it, of trying to sway a criminal investigation. I doubt that she would, but that's essentially what she's doing. She's trying to sway a criminal investigation and put her daughter in the best light. I mean, the question that I was asked on Court TV before this trial started was, why did Kouri Richins write this book? And my answer was, what we know about murderers is they play the victim so well. She had to play the victim, and she wanted to profit from it would give her a great feeling of power and control from profiting from her own murder. And if you're $7.5 million in debt, every little penny that you can dig yourself out of debt counts.
Did detectives investigate who wrote the book?
Yes.
Who wrote the book?
Section 4143 and hearsay.
Overruled. Go ahead.
We found text messages in in Miss Richins' phone between her and a contact named Book Writing Lane, who was a book writer, publisher of some type, regarding them writing the book for her.
Are they a ghostwriter?
She's guilty of having a ghostwriter. Guilty of having a ghostwriter. But I mean, you would think, I mean, I get that clearly Kouri Richins isn't much of a writer. As a writer's daughter myself, I would say her writing is poor. However, if you're writing a children's book where the writing doesn't have to be particularly flowery or sophisticated, and you were really deeply affected by the death of your husband, wouldn't you want to write it yourself? Wouldn't this be therapy for you to try, and therapy for your children?
Yeah.
Scott, 2-121, please. This is 141 pages. You've reviewed this prior to today. Is this an accurate depiction of those text messages between Kouri Richins and Book Writing Lane?
Yes, this is a depiction of part of them.
Mr. Bloodworth, would you approach for 1 moment?
That's her mother, right? Looking very thin. Lisa Darden in the back there, sitting behind Jean Richins. And I think that's Amy Richins. I think. I may be wrong. I think this might be a good place to stop. No, we're looking at the back. Oh, I'm sorry. I kept that up. I thought that was funny. Kouri was willing to exploit her own children's grief to get money by making this book. She was using her kids, right? When you don't have any real grief of your own, I guess you do have to use your kids. She got her writing degree the same place she got her business degree. Funny. But didn't she get a master's in some kind of business or realty or something so she could do this house flipping? Mia Wallace says exactly. She said the point of the book was to help her boys process it. She's incapable of even a scintilla of genuineness. And I think it's interesting to note that her family does not have her kids. The Richins family has her kids, and she was taking out. So I had a new thought. Like, I wondered why she was taking out insurance on her kids after her husband's death. And she was also apparently taking out life insurance for Eric Richins' mother-in-law, I believe. So I worried that maybe she was going to kill one of her kids next, because she was buying these same pills that she killed her husband with after he died. So what I wondered if her plans were to plant those pills, or if she planted those pills in the truck, and that we know Cody Wright came and took Eric Richins' truck away, and I can't imagine him throwing out those pills, but was that part of her complaint about him taking the truck? I would think her complaint would be that it was property that she didn't get. Everything seems to come down to money and property and stuff. I mean, just money, essentially. Kouri Richins had fantasies of being in the elite, the 1% of life. I mean, you get a strong feeling of psychopathic narcissism from Kouri Richins. Yeah, life insurance on the boys, right? She was taking it out, all this life insurance on the boys after her husband, which is pretty unusual to think you're going to cash in on that life insurance policy on such young children. I've been going since 9:30 this morning. I will see you tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning. We'll review some of this testimony before court starts at 10:30 in the morning. Have a great night, everyone. Please help me out. I am a small channel. Hit the thumbs up on your way out. Share this episode. Subscribe to the channel. Support the channel. Venmo, Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon, all great ways to support the channel. Links in the description of this and every episode. Thanks so much for watching the trial with me and recapping today's testimony, some of today's testimony. There's so much more to talk about. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Have a great night, everybody.
Mic check, Roberta strides through the static haze. True crime Gotham where the shadows play their plays. Fraudsters fold when a spotlight beams. Fact-focused queen busting propaganda schemes. Glass shatter lies echoes through the streets. Standing for victims, giving voice their beats. NYC Pulse, truth sharp as night. Roberta exposing, she's the anti-fraud light. Hard cash warrior, dissecting state and defense. Twisted innocence, claims breaking pretense. Gotham's truth seeker cuts clean with the blade. Facts in the forefront, no justice gets swayed. Cold facts drip heavy, real talk unfurls. Cracking cases open like oysters with pearls. Innocence gimmicks crumble to dust in the wind. For victims, her creed, justice till the end. Headphones blazing, she drops heavy artillery. Narratives twisted, meet blunt object civility. Roberta got receipts that unravel the ploy. Exposing the lies these fraudsters deploy. Glass shatters lies, echoes through the streets. Standing for victims, giving voice their beats. NYC Pulse, truth sharp as night. Roberta exposing, she's the anti-fraud light.